welcome to a very special edition of Doctor Who, The Complete Review. And today, luckily, thanks to my fantastic lecturer, Dr. Richard Hewitt, I'm sat with the wonderful Graeme Harper. Hello there.
Hello.
Would you firstly, to anyone who foolishly doesn't know who you are, like to tell the audience what you've done for Doctor Who, and also why you've been here today talking to me?
I'm here because I was invited by Richard Hewitt to be a part of his seminar about television production. And I think he thought it would be interesting to talk about a couple of aspects of the programmes I've made both recently and some time ago, 30 years ago, and the difference in making those for his students. I'm not sure actually today whether everybody in this room was fascinated, interested or whatever. I couldn't judge it or gauge it at all. But I could feel there was a good 10%, 15% who were really up for discussing aspects of making good drama.
Well, firstly, speaking of that, of like the urge to get in and people wanted to be involved, what was it that drove you firstly into television? What made you think, well, of course you want to become an actor first? What was that drive like? What pushed you to want to do that?
I was at I went to drama school, and I have to tell you, it was the best thing that could have happened to me, because it was like a freedom school. We did have discipline, but it was fun. We did the 3 hours in the morning or the afternoon, and all the theatre stuff in the other half of the day. So I had a fantastic life as a child, from the age of 8 or 9, going to a drama school which was paid for by the government, basically. So theatre and television were definitely in my blood. When I got to 16 and left the drama school, I had huge stage fright, and in those days there was a lot of theatre. We're talking about the 60s, and there was a lot of theatre production and not so much television. It was still growing. Still there, it was there, but it was growing still. And I decided that I didn't want to be an actor. I would carry on for 5 or 6 years if I had to. I really wanted to get into television and theatre production and learn about the production, because I knew in my heart I wanted to be a director from the age of 16. Well, it didn't happen straight away. It took me a good 5 years to get from the age of 16 to 21. It took me that time to become an assistant director, if you like, in television. And in the remaining time, in the 5 years gap, I did theatre production as a stage manager, and I taught driving when I wasn't working, and that gave me a very good living, so I was comfortable. I also got married very young, so I was 19 when I got married, and I had a son, so I had to make money and support a family. Right, having said that, when I was 21, I got a letter from the BBC inviting me to an interview, which I got as a runner. So I became a runner at the BBC, and within the first week, I was working on Doctor Who, would you believe?
What was the first Doctor Who story that you worked on?
I can't remember.
I might be able to help.
You will be able to help, because it was, and I should have done some homework on this for you.
Well, thank you.
I can't remember, but I happen to know that it was the first episode that, what's her name?
Oh, here we go. Which
no, you'll know.
We're in the Pertwee, was it era?
60s Dolly Bird.
Oh, Annika Wills?
Thank you.
Polly, War Machines.
It was the first. Who was their first Doctor?
William Hartnell.
Right. It was the first episode of Patrick Troughton.
Oh, it was the Power of the Daleks.
That she did. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I only worked on it as a trainee runner. I was being shown the ropes, so I was on it, and I probably shared the work, going to knock on doors, but I didn't have the show for myself. But I remember her, and I remember thinking, oh, she's a bit old, because she was pretty, or still is, but she was very pretty as a young woman, and we all kind of were gasping for her.
Do you remember anything about Patrick Troughton? Was that the only time you worked with him, or did you work with him again?
No, I did. It was the only time I worked with Patrick Troughton. He happened to be a friend of my mum's, I didn't know him. I mean, I didn't go round
Yeah,
to his but they were. He was a keen supporter of Amateur Dramatic Society in the local area that he lived, which happened to be Mill Hill, next door to where I lived. And my mother was a very, very keen amateur actress, so they were very good friends.
Moving on from that, you've already answered my next question. Was first job in television, which you've already technically said that.
Yeah.
But when you were first approached for the Doctor Who directing gig, slip forward to Androzani now, how were you approached for that, and what was your initial thoughts when that dropped on your door and said, we want you to do this?
John Nathan Turner and I came up through the ranks together. We're roughly the same age.
Yeah.
We were, he's dead. We were roughly the same age. And we were friends. But he went off to be producer and I trained to be a director. I was working on Angels, which was a soap opera about nurses of that period, and he was very keen to get on new blood, and so he watched my career in doing Angels to see whether I was any good.
Well, I was going to say, just to butt in there quickly, Angels, wasn't Mark Strickson in that who played Turlo?
Oh, he might have been, not with me.
I'm not sure if it was that or if it was another. It was definitely a medical drama around the time which he spotted him and then said, that's why I want to play Turlo.
It would
who
have been
became a
Angels,
companion.
strange enough, because he...
I'm sure it would have been. I don't know if I'm wrong.
No,
I'm sure it would have been.
he suggested a lot of casting from that series, yeah. So, one day I did 4 episodes for Julia Smith of Angels. He watched. One was a big action piece for a brand new young director. I mean, it was great for me, but I wasn't sure whether it was brilliant. I think it was that made him think, this guy knows something about television. I think we'll employ him, and so I got my chance within 2 years to do a Doctor Who. My luck was it was written by Robert.
Robert Holmes. It was his first story in a good few years as well. His big return to Doctor Who.
Yeah, he hadn't done so. Something had happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what, but he disappeared for a while.
We worked together on. I was a first assistant before I became a director, and I worked with Dougie Camfield on Nightmare Man, which was a science fiction thriller. Mm-hmm. Written by Robert Holmes. Yeah. So I actually worked with him, but I was an assistant director, I wasn't a director. But I worked with him, with Dougie on that, and was part of their meeting and discussions, etc. Yeah. So when I came to do Doctor Who, the brilliance was it Doctor Who, which unfortunately was being killed off. They were trying to get rid of it, so they were starving it of money. And they had this young producer, John Nathan Turner, who was eager to prove that he could make something of it, and he did, despite the lack of money.
I was going to say, the year before you came on was the 20th anniversary, and they're all big BBC celebrations regarding that, so what you say there might come as a shock to some people, having all the big sort of furore and excitement about Doctor Who being 20.
Yeah, there was a definite desire by some people to actually get rid of it, and guess what? 3 years later, they survived. Yeah. They succeeded.
But it's here now. It's here now. We're all here now.
Yes. I think it needs to be revamped, but it didn't need to be stopped. They just need to stop and rethink it and bring it back.
Yeah.
His problem was because Star Wars and Raiders had made it look ridiculous. Mm-hmm. That was why it was competing against the impossible. However, what John Nathan Turner didn't know was how I was going to do it, and
you came in,
I did, and I really got my fingers burnt doing it because I had a lot of experience in how to make a television program because I was a first. My job was to plan and schedule how to get a program done for a director, give him the time to make it all work. Whatever it was, it wasn't just Doctor Who's. So. And I was ambitious, and I wanted to show how Doctor Who could be brought into the modern world and saved, really. I wasn't on a mission, but I just knew it could be done differently. Mm-hmm. The problem is, it had to be done within certain time. The rehearsal period was so many days. The actual shooting of it was covered with a little bit of film, mostly in the studio, and was a limited amount of time. But I knew we had to have handheld shots. I wanted to move the cameras more than they ever do or did.
Or ever did, even when you look at it, yeah.
No, people. There was never time to start moving and make complicated shots work. So you really were pushing your luck if you started doing that. But I came on the floor rather than just stuck in a gallery with just the voice of God booming out to everybody what he wanted. Came on the floor and directed from the floor, a lot of it, not all, but a lot of it. That wastes time.
Yeah.
But it's the only way you can do the sort of shots that I was dreaming of. We hadn't got time to start describing it as a voice over the internet. Not internet.
The tannoy.
Intercom.
Yeah.
On headphones. I had to be there and describe quickly what I wanted and actually...
And get it done, in the moment, yeah.
Really energised the studio. And it did, that's what happened.
Well, it worked.
But I ran out of time, that's the problem. So we had to lose certain scenes or certain sections of scenes in order to complete the days. But as luck would have it, the decisions were made, which probably were the wrong ones, but they were made and there was still enough material to make the episode. So fortunately I got the coverage I wanted, and without surprising luck to me, we got a fantastic series.
I was saying to Richard earlier that the location stuff looks above and beyond anything that Doctor Who was doing in that year. If you don't mind me being so humble, but it looks like a feature film. You could put that on a big screen, and it would look not a moment out of place. Yeah,
the BFI did it.
I wanted to go, and I couldn't make it.
I was gobsmacked.
Yeah,
especially as they showed the revamped version. So there was some CGI work done, and electrical stabilisation of the. There's a film.
The matte painting,
and it was just cut. So it's just seamless. It was really, really good. And Alan Parker turned up for this showing with 200 or 300 people to the showing of Caves because his son wanted to come, who was 12, 13 year old. So we had a conversation afterwards and he said, not bad, eh? That actually holds up as a movie, doesn't it? And wow, thank you very much, Mr. Parker. That was really good.
Well, I was going to say, you kind of answered my question, maybe you could add an addendum to it. How much of your vision did you get into Androzani? In a percentage, how much did you get of your vision? How much was compromise?
I would have thought about 60 or 70%.
Yeah.
My dream, and the rest of it you're never going to know.
Yeah.
Because that went down. Oh, there was a lot lost. I got.
There was a lot.
70% of it. Yeah, it was exciting.
Oh, this is, and along those same lines of achieving what you have in your head. Out of all the Doctor Who's you've done, from classic series all the way to the Tennant stuff, what would you say is the most challenging story that you had to approach as a director? So that could be either technically or the constraints you had to work around to make it, because we haven't even touched on all the new series work and with the production process behind that, which is
as soon as I was offered the new Doctor Who, it was like there was nothing that was impossible. It was just extraordinary. Whatever you wanted to do, I'll say that a different way. Whatever you were allowed to choose to do, because some of the effects we had to lose. So there would be 25 effects in an episode, and around a table of 30 people, we all decided. Well, Russell T. Davis made sure we didn't do. He would accept.
That's fantastic.
No, he wouldn't accept. He would fight his corner, and you'd fight your own as to what you wanted to keep and how you.
Did you ever find yourself combating against that? Was it very much easy?
Yeah, there were times when he would say, "I want to lose that and keep that," but I did what I was told there. I couldn't fight an expert with what he mostly wrote the stuff, so I would go down the road. I never really argued with him. I would be disappointed in front of him if we had to lose something. But I knew his idea was right, that less we choose, out of 25 effects, we can afford 16 of them. What 16 are we going to have? The fact that we can have 16 and they were going to be brilliant was extraordinary. So I never thought that. I just was disappointed sometimes.
So to the question, if you can answer it, what was your most challenging Doctor Who
That's
story?
what you asked me.
That's the one.
I better tell you then.
If
The
you
most
can.
challenging of all of them was Age of Steel and
Rise of the Cybermen.
Rise of the Cybermen. The reason why it was a shock to the system to me was because it was decided one of the episodes was right in the middle of the series and one of the episodes was right at the end.
Of the production block.
Of the production
Okay.
block. But they both involved, both involved Cybermen.
Yes, of course,
obviously
yes.
one of them involved Cybermen and
And Daleks as well.
So they decided that they would do a 52-day shoot to do both episodes.
That's insane.
One for the end of the series, one for the middle of it. But both had that. Which I loved the idea of, the challenge of. But in the end was a nightmare
Yeah.
in trying to compete each day and make sure you got everything. And we didn't. On one particular night shoot, a very expensive night shoot because it involved lots of Cybermen and lots of extras.
Yeah.
It's a night shoot, and that cost money because
Yeah,
of
of
the
course.
lighting. I didn't complete. I was about 15% down on the
Really?
finishing.
Would this be where they're taking over the party, the Cybermen, and all sort of...
No.
So I was going to say, that looks
that
fantastic.
was all done. No, this was a sequence in the street at night.
Oh, yes, where they're all running away in pots. Yeah.
And it was I just didn't complete. And the reason I had was because it was too much to do. It were 15 night shoot days.
That's it's insane.
Just
That's-
insane. And you always do them at the beginning or towards the beginning or the middle, so you've got time to catch up over the hours of the day, over the remaining days to get back to normal. And it was that one. That block was tough, but God, the results were wonderful.
They were fantastic.
Yeah, it was stunning.
And for two final questions, one of them which I don't know if I'm allowed to ask because you made some sort of joke about it earlier in the day, but Warriors Gates. Am I allowed to ask how did you get involved with that, and how much did you do in the finished product?
The honest truth is Paul Joyce wrote. No, he didn't write the script. Paul Joyce had written a play that had gone out on from BBC Birmingham. It was quite successful. He'd written it and he'd directed it. So he got the Doctor Who job on that. This new kid on the block had done this wonderful play that he'd written. Reality was that when he actually came on board, I was his first assistant director. I could see that he knew nothing about how Doctor Who was scheduled and the way it was worked. So I explained to him, and one of the things I said to him was, before the rehearsal, there were no filming sequences on that. It was all studio. And I said to him, the way it works is you have 5 days of rehearsal. You must have ready for me on day one a camera plan with all the cameras' positions on it and a camera script, a rough camera script that I can look at, and then during the first 2 days of blocking through, you can change any of that, but by day 3 it has to be really sacrosanct, and I'm going to get that printed off by the PA who's going to write your camera script, and I will make sure your camera plan works, that all the cameras don't get tied up in knots. And he went, yeah, I'll do that, but he never did.
Oh no!
And with Doctor Who, you
need that.
you cannot just come in on the rehearsal day and start planning it then.
It's a winging it operation. You can't wing it.
You can't do it.
No.
And he never did. So by the Tuesday, I was now in trouble. So I said to John and Nathan Turner, we've got a problem because this man's done no planning whatsoever, but he's rehearsing it, but he's not writing a camera script, and we need a camera script. So I'm going to write with his agreement, I'm going to write the camera script based on what he shows me in the rehearsal room. And John said, you haven't got time. I said, well, I'm going to have to do it. I'll have to do it. So I wrote a camera script, but the camera script, he showed me a scene, and he would say, and he would loosely tell me what he wanted, but it was not in the grammar. so it wasn't in shot grammar. So I could see what he was dreaming of, so I wrote a camera script that would cover the way that could be shot, and then we'd work it out in the studio if it didn't come off, because I wasn't a director at that stage. But I had enough experience to know the sort of shots we could use to cover it. So that's what I did. So I wrote the camera script, and I made his camera plan.
I had no idea.
Based on what we did. But he directed the actors and the scenes. What you see on the screen, it was all him.
But the shots
the
are yours.
visualisation of it and me is me, and the combination of me and what the and the camera crew.
Because that's fascinating. There's lots of ambitious stuff. So in some places, Warriors Gate, something like the crane shots, stuff like that. It's all very good. So we have you to thank for that.
We do, and also we discussed some of it. I mean, so I did his camera script and made a plan of how it could look, and then that could be adjusted as we did it. It didn't go. It went well in the studio, but it didn't go terribly well for Paul Joyce. All the way through, but in the end he got through it all, and he definitely changed the performances, and he directed the actors and the shape of how it was going to be, and I made sure it was covered.
And one final question before we go, and this is a question I know many fans are asking for me: why haven't you come back to Doctor Who yet, Graeme?
What, recently?
Recently, has there ever been any discussions about returning? Because you last worked with...
you have to really ask the producer that, because I certainly do not want to object to it. I like Doctor Who. I love doing it. I loved doing the David Tennant seasons that I did, because they were electrifying. He was a fantastic Doctor Who. His assistants, Billy Piper, Freema, and Catherine Tate, absolutely stunning actresses to work with, and I think every episode, I'm sure everybody else does the same, every episode was a joy.
They're fantastic to watch, so the proof is in the pudding. Proof's in the pudding.
Thank you very much. No, good.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us, Graeme Harper. Thank you.
Thank you.